was, Luke, as a teenager, how do I make money in 2023? Because it's a valid question. You know, you have a lot of young hustlers, kids in their 16s to 18s. They're still in high school, but they understand the online money game. They understand that there's some cash to be made, and they want to get in on the action. You know, so don't let anybody tell you because you're young that you can't be out here making money, that you can't be out here hustling. You know, I have students, kids that are 16 years old doing 20, 50K days. Like, they're absolutely crushing. I have 19-year-olds that are doing 100K days. You know, I have kids that are in their early 20s doing $300,000 days. Yeah, literally proven, tested, real e-commerce stores that are brands, right? These are real tangible things. Now, yeah, they may be anomalies, but why can't you be an anomaly, right? If somebody else can't do it, doesn't mean you can't do it. In the comments, you're going to see so many people be like, oh, yeah, well, that's luck, or that's bullshit, or whatever. Yeah, there's so many excuses as to why you can't do something, right? But you only need one good reason as to why you need to do something, and you can be that difference. You can be that point of difference in your environment. So choose to be that person, you know? Choose to be that rare phenomenon, that maverick, that individual that supersedes the average, you know? It's so easy to be common, but to be extraordinary requires a different kind of heart, a different kind of individual. So if you're going to be that person, you're going to be misunderstood, but it's what is required to get to the top. So what are ways that you can make money as a young entrepreneur in your early 20s or in your teens? Well, first we need to understand the type of places where you can make money. So we're going to break it down into 3 categories. The first one is physical products. Right? Whether you're reselling sneakers, reselling watches, whether you have a drop shipping store selling general products, household products, whether you have an Amazon store, whether you have an eBay store where you resell things that you find at a garage sale, whether you trade Pokemon cards, whatever it may be, right? You have the ability to transact physical goods, right? You can own a grocery store, you can own a movie theater, right? There's some sort of physical product that's interacting with that individual. That's the first type of place where you can make money with, right? Physical products. The second one is digital products. You have, your subscriptions, your software companies. You have your platforms, right? You have your Netflix, your Facebook. For your softwares, you can have anything, right? You can have Dropbox, you can have Streamlabs, you can have whatever it is, right?
Infinite.
OBS, there's infinite amounts of softwares. Then you can have info products, right? People that sell info products online, or you're offering digital services, right? And that's the third one is services, right? So you have physical products, digital products, and you have services. Services is the easiest to get into, but it's the hardest to kind of get off the ground into kind of a sustainable, successful business, because it requires a lot of time, sweat equity. So you run an agency, you're gonna have to put in mad hours, right? It's not this idea that is extremely passive. You kind of have these golden handcuffs towards your clients because they're paying you for performance or things of this nature, right? So there are things attached to that ability to make money with no real investment up front besides your time and your effort. But then you have your physical products, right? I see a lot of kids making a ton of money doing TikTok organic, right? They're running these products, they're being creative. Most people think that the problem is the product, or the problem is that it's saturated, but many times it's people's narrative and their marketing angle and their ability to position the product in a way whereby it's interesting and persuasive. What you need to understand is these big companies that you see around the world, you see Apple, you see Airbnb, dude, they spend millions and millions of dollars every single month on advertising. They are present, they are there, they have a mark, they have a brand, they have a message, right? It's very, very clear. But they're so common, they're so big that to you it's just, oh, Apple's there, right? Apple's there right next to the Eiffel Tower. No, but that's positioning. You put yourself there as a brand to get noticed, to have a messaging, and you have to do that yourself. Now with TikTok Organic, as a young entrepreneur, you can take a product that you think is really cool, you can build a story, a narrative around it, and you can sell it. You can build a community, you can resonate, and yeah, sure, maybe you won't make $100,000 a month on that product, but you're damn sure if you put in a lot of work and you understand the market and you have a good marketing angle and you test enough products, I guarantee you're bound to find something that'll make you $10,000 a month. Why not?
For sure.
It's not that difficult, right?
The issue is the learning curve.
It's the learning curve, but everything is difficult at first. Everything has a learning curve. So are you going to have a learning curve whereby you know, have no ceiling when it comes to your income, or is your learning curve going to be capped by a job, right? So you have to figure out the type of knowledge that you want. Can you get in frame?
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect. So that's the second perspective, and then you have your software or your digital goods. This is the one that I usually like the most because you have no inventory, you have kind of no cost of goods, you don't have shipping problems. You know, right now a lot of Amazon products, a lot of Prime products, and things even drop shipping from China, they're massively delayed. Why? Because there's supply chain issues. China's going into their new year, right? Factories don't work. You have COVID lockdowns. The ports are a mess, right? So you have all this backlog whereby in digital products you wouldn't even feel that friction. So that's something to also consider. And it's a really good experience. So you guys have to figure out, now you have these 3 different blocks, right? Of physical products, digital products, and services. You need to figure out where you can excel. And the way you can excel is by figuring out 3 formulas, right? In order to get paid, you need to figure out 3 formulas. Let's talk about services. Okay, so with services, you need to figure out 3 things. First is what is in high demand, right? So you don't want to be doing, let's say, agency work in an outdated niche, right? In a niche that no longer has an audience, right? Or you do not want to be running a service, or you do not want to have your own organization, your own company, doing or operating or providing value somewhere where there's no longer a lot of interest per se, because you need demand, and you need a market, and you need a target audience, and you need a group of people big enough to scale, right? A lot of companies, they get capped because their target market or their audience is so small that they end up being limited,
regardless of their skill and knowledge.
Correct.
Et cetera.
The market is too small. It's too niche. It's too small. It's too limited. So first, you need to figure out something that is in high demand. 2 is figure out if you have the ability to be positioned as the best in the market, right? You need to make your stamp. If you're trying to outlive brands and not only live off of paid traffic, which is a terrible way to live, and you want to build a real sustainable company, a real sustainable brand, the way you're going to do it is by building, right, into something where you can become the best. You can become a household name, right? You need to be able to compete for that mental space when it comes to that niche. It's extremely important, right? So if I say, you know, athletic wear, you would automatically think of 2 or 3 brands. If I tell you shoes, you would think about 2 or 3 brands. If I tell you designer, you would talk about 2 or 3 brands, right? These are the ones that occupy the mental blocks in people's minds. And you, as a company, you're supposed to occupy that mental block. That's what advertising is all about. You don't want to be just slamming direct to consumer. You want to build this relationship, this rapport, this reputation, this brand, this image. It takes time. So first is figure out something that is in high demand. Second, figure out something that you can be extremely good at. And finally, find something that you cannot be easily replaced in, right? A lot of you guys have e-commerce stores, e-commerce products that anybody can literally white label and compete, outspend you, right? Spend more ads than you, develop an ecosystem that's better than you, launch better ads, and boom, they take your product, you're out of market, right? So you need to be able to build something that is completely different, and you do that by not competing with other people or copying other people, but by creating something unique, which requires a lot of mental power. But that's kind of like the entire thesis with regards to that. So yeah, hope you guys kind of got a good little intro with regards to that. So figure out what niches are in the physical space, what niches are in the digital space, and what niches are in the services space, and figure out where you resonate and go and make your money.
And would you suggest for them to just pursue one, or try all 3 and see what suits them best?
You need to figure out something where you can excel, right? That's the most important thing. You do not want to be operating somewhere where there's a lot of friction and resistance, right? There's no need for it. You have natural abilities, natural God-given skills. You can harness those. You need to polish them. You need to figure out where are your weaknesses and partner with people that can build on those weaknesses, or hire people that can manage those weaknesses, right? And you can get creative as to how you employ people. You don't have to be paying people salary, right? You can give people commission, you can give people revenue share, you can give people equity. Like there's so many other incentives, bonuses that you can give people in order to maintain them around. So build yourself in a way where you're focusing on your strengths and understanding that the weaknesses need to be built and covered by other people
Yeah.
or by systems or by artificial intelligence or by whatever means possible.